Hey everybody, welcome back to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com and for another installment of Questions and Coffee with David. This is where I get up early in the morning, taking care of all the business stuff before I head down into the studio for the day, and I get myself a nice cup of coffee, and I'm answering all the questions that you guys have been sending in over the last few days, and we have a lot of them this week to take care of. So before we get to the first question, if you like what you see in this video, please hit that subscribe button. It helps me out tremendously. Also, go out to Facebook.com/HomeRecordingMadeEasy and follow me there. Follow me on Twitter and share these videos with others. It really does help me and I appreciate it. And if you want more tips, tricks, concepts, and training around all aspects of home recording, mixing, and mastering, head out to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com and check out the Made Easy series along with the Quick Mix series, as it'll help you bring your mixes and your record productions to the next level, I promise. And if you want one of your questions answered in an upcoming segment of Questions and Coffee, please send it into info@HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com. So now that we got that all out of the way, let's head on over to question number one. Okay, question number one comes from my good buddy Steven, and Steven writes in, "Hi David, good day. I wanted to ask you a question about the Studio Live 32 series. I just got mine a few weeks ago. Do your scribble strips on the mixer show the icons underneath the channel? I could have sworn that when I received this mixer, they did show this in the scribble strip. Perhaps I pressed the wrong button. I do see the icons and the colors in the UC software when I configure the channel from there. This is not a big deal, but I'd like to use this feature. I enjoy and watch your videos. Thanks for your assistance. Cheers, Steve from Canada." Well, thanks, Steve, for writing in. You know, I don't believe the icons show up on the mixer itself in the scribble strip. I would be surprised if they did because the scribble strips are so small. You are correct that they do show in UC Surface. I've played with that a little bit, but I haven't used UC Surface all that much, to be totally honest with you. I'm going to do some videos in the future showing how to set recording levels and such from UC Surface, from let's say your drum kit where you're away from your mixer, which will be a pretty cool video. But you know, I honestly don't know, and to be honest, because the scribble strips are so tiny, I don't know what value that really adds. I like the idea that you can color code the strips, and that works for me to be able to see, you know, what color my tracks are. So for example, I keep all my drum tracks kind of a red color, my guitar's all green, my vocals all yellow, etc., etc. You can, if you hit the select the channel or the select button on a specific channel, and then you go into the touch screen, there may be a way to add it there, because that is where you change the colors, and if you're going to be able to add the icon to the scribble strip, that's where it's going to be. So I'm sorry, I don't know absolutely for sure. I don't believe so, but that's how I would check it out. Maybe someone in this watching this video will know differently, and they can leave a comment below this video. So thanks for writing in again, Steve, and we'll talk to you soon. And now let's go on to question number two. Okay, question number two comes from Martin, and Martin writes in, "Hi David, great channel. I love watching your videos. Thank you for all you do to give back. I had a home business question. How do you handle things like insurance, taxes, and such? Do you have an insurance do you have to have insurance if you have musicians come into your studio? If they are always paying cash, do you need to report the income? Do I register my business with my state? Any insight would be helpful. Thanks, Martin." Well, thanks, Martin, so much for writing in. And this kind of question around the business side of the home studio business I get quite a bit, and I'm planning on doing an entire Made Easy series on the home studio business and the business end of things. I've just released on YouTube a 3-part mini series, 10 tips to building a successful home studio business. You can check that out. I don't talk about this topic. I talk about other tips and things that have helped me ensure that I've created a successful business, and you may want to check that out. But the answer to your question is, let's start with insurance. If you have a home studio business and you have people coming into your home, you don't necessarily, and again, this depends on the state. My first tip would be to call your insurance agent. Depending on what state, what country you live in, things may be different. But I know in my home state, I don't have to have a separate insurance policy, only because if someone were to, I don't know, I guess, trip and twist their ankle, for example, my homeowner's insurance, my liability policy would already cover that. But that's just in my state. You have to check your state. Again, don't go by what I say as gospel. Check with your home state, your insurance company, just to be sure. So you don't have to have, in my state, you don't have to have a separate insurance policy for something like that. Now, if you're in a commercial facility, you're going to have liability insurance there as well. So that will cover someone maybe hurting themselves, tripping over something, breaking an ankle, something like that. As far as taxes go, yes, you need to pay taxes. You have, property taxes that you're going to have to pay if you're in a commercial facility. If you're at your home, you're paying property taxes on your house. You have to pay taxes on all the equipment and such that you buy for your company. If you're going to depreciate that stuff and write that off as expenses on your taxes at the end of the year. And again, every state is different. Every country is different. You need to check with your accountant and you need to check with the local authorities to be sure that you're doing things correctly. So what's great about having a home business of any kind is you have a lot of tax write-offs that you can take advantage of. And again, every state and every country is different. So for example, I have a home studio. Obviously, everybody knows that. Home recording made easy. And so every year on my taxes, I'm able to write off part of my studio itself, the square footage of my studio off on my taxes. I'm able to write off a portion of my utilities, such as heat, hot water, electricity, so on and so forth. I'm able to write off certain things that take place around the house as far as repairs go in my studio and stuff. I'm able to write off my home office. And there's all other kinds of advantages from a tax perspective when you have yourself a home-based business. Now, you have to keep really good records. You have to keep receipts of everything. You got to do everything. I use QuickBooks for my accounting software. You need to use something like that, something similar. You have to keep very accurate records when you're going to start making all kinds of deductions, because if you get audited, and sooner or later we all do, you want to have a paper trail that lines up with your numbers. So that's a great advantage to having a home business. Now, as far as and again, you need to register your business, or at least you should, with your home state, country, so on and so forth, and be a legal business. I've been a legal business for 7-8 years now. You can go to your town and in the state that you live in, you can get all the right documentation. It doesn't take very long. A lot of it you can do online. If you do a Google search, you can easily do it online, where you register your business with the state or with the country that you live in. And there's going to be a small fee to do that. It's not very expensive. And every couple of years, you're going to have to pay. I know in my state, I got to pay a $250 business tax every couple of years for having a business in the home state in my home state of Connecticut, but your state may be different. And then that way, once you're a legal business, now you can start writing things off on your taxes and you can take advantage of some of those things. But again, I urge everyone, talk to your accountant. I don't want to get myself in any trouble here. And then lastly, if people pay cash, you need to report the income, absolutely. If you're a legal business, and you should be, you need to report that income. If you don't report that income and someone catches you, you're going to subject yourself to an audit and possibly fines and all that other stuff. And also today on the internet, with all the work that I do, most of the stuff I get done is through credit card and through PayPal, where there's a paper trail. So you absolutely have to report the income. So I would highly suggest couple of things when you're setting up a business. Number one, you want to get your business registered with the state. Make sure no one else has the same business name that you have. Protect yourself that way. You want to talk to maybe a small business attorney about what kind of insurances you might need if you're going to be in your home or if you're going to be in a commercial facility. I think you're asking about a home studio, and just make sure and talk to your insurance agent to make sure you don't need any kind of special policy. I don't believe you do, but you want to check that out. You want to make sure that you are taking advantage of all the tax deductions that you can take advantage of at the end of the year. And again, talk to an accountant, do your research, find out on your own. If you can use a lot of tax programs like TurboTax will help you walk through that as well. But I would consult with an accountant first and educate yourself, because the tax code is all crazy. And then lastly, yes, you need to report income, and I would use an accounting software like QuickBooks or some way to track your income, track your expenses. So at the end of the year when you do your taxes, it's real easy. All the numbers are kind of laid out in front of you. And I know it's tempting, and a lot of people, and again, we all did it in the early days before I was a business. Someone came into my studio, gave me $250 in cash, and I stuck it in my pocket and didn't report it. You don't want to do that as a business. You don't want to get greedy. You want to do everything right, because if you do that and you have that mindset, you're going to keep yourself straight. If you start pocketing money and cooking the books and doing all the things that a lot of businesses do, you can get away with it for a while, but you sooner or later could get audited. And if you get audited and they find out you're not reporting properly, there can be some real hefty penalties. And I don't recommend you do that. And I get asked that question a lot, and I'm telling you on video, report all the income, pay the taxes, do things right, Keep yourself straight and you'll be just fine. And yes, you need to register your business with your state. I would do that again. Just go on your local state's government website and there's just a one-page form on how to do that. And it's a small fine to file and it's real simple. So I hope that answers your question and then some about business. If you have any other questions, please send them in and I will try to help. And thanks again, Martin, for writing in. And now let's go on to the last question of this particular segment of Questions and Coffee. Question number 3. Okay, last question for this video comes from Tom, and Tom writes in, "Hi David, I'm just starting to watch recording in PreSonus Studio One Made Easy, and I'm learning how to use Studio One." Right on. That is a great Made Easy product I did about 1.5 years ago with in cahoots with PreSonus. If you want to learn how to use Studio One and you're new to Studio One, I take you through the very, very beginning steps of how to set up an interface, how to register your software, blah, blah, blah. If you need a real entry level to Studio One, that's the series to pick up. I am used to an ADAT recording system, so needless to say, I've been struggling with the whole DAW process for a few years now. Your training videos have helped me immensely. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that for your support. Ironically, I've been using EZdrummer 2 as a standalone for a few years now, and I'm really glad you have a video dedicated to integrating that into Studio One. I do have a question. In the recording guitar section, you mentioned, but you really don't show how to color code the sections of the drummer track in Studio One. Example, intro, verse, bridge, etc. You go into detail about applying and naming flags, but I don't see anything on how to apply different colors to the sections of the EZdrummer track. I tried adding colors last night, but couldn't quite figure it out. Do you have instructions on that or a video you've made on that topic you can send me? I'm sure it's something simple that I'm missing. Thanks again, sincerely, Tom. Yeah, Tom, thanks for writing in. So for people that are not sure what he's talking about, basically, if you were to take, say, EZdrummer, a drum program software, and you had a MIDI track, one whole MIDI track with your drum performance, you can, and what I show in this video that Tom is speaking of, is you can take your blade tool in PreSonus Studio One, it's shortcut number 3, and you can cut that drum track into sections. Okay, so now you don't have one long event, you have separate events, and I usually cut them up by the intro, the verse, the chorus, the bridge, the middle 8, so on and so forth. Once you have those separate events by section, if you highlight that specific, let's say intro for this example, and then you right click on that, you're going to get a drop down menu. And in the top left hand corner of the drop down menu, you're going to see a color strip. And you can click on that little color box in the top left hand corner of that drop down menu, and a color palette will pop up and it will allow you to change the color of that specific event. So what I do is I chop up that MIDI performance, and you can do this with an audio track as well. And I color code the different sections of my song. So my intro event may be red, my verse might be yellow, my chorus might be green. And then this way, when I'm recording a performance in a track, and let's say it's a track that I just wrote, I'm not quite familiar with the changes of the song and I want to know when one section changes to the other, the color codes help me as a guide. You can also then add markers above the top of each of those events and label them. But what I don't like in Studio One is the marker flags are usually kind of small and hard to read, so I like the big bold colors in front of me. The other thing you can do is you can add an arranger track, and you can excuse me, you can separate the sections of the song that way, and you can color code the sections of the arranger track the same exact way. So I hope that helps you. Again, go back and watch my answer again. It's really, really simple to do, but it's not not something well known that people talk about. And I did not realize I did not show that in that series, so I apologize for that. So hopefully that helps you, Tom. If you have any other questions, please give me a shout, and I will certainly try to help you. And once again, thanks for buying Recording in Studio One Made Easy. I appreciate your support. So that's it for this segment of Questions and Coffee with David. Thank you so much for watching. Again, go out to YouTube, go out to Facebook, go out to Twitter, and follow me there. And as always, head out to homerecordingmadeeasy.com for all your training needs around recording, mixing, and mastering. Until the next video of Questions and Coffee with David, this has been David with homerecordingmadeeasy.com, and I will speak to you all soon. Take care.